The first signs were so small that almost no one noticed. A few birds flying in the wrong direction, whales stranded on foreign shores, satellites failing one after another without clear explanation. The official statements called it temporary interference, but the truth, as always, was far stranger and far more terrifying. Somewhere deep beneath the surface of the planet, in the molten heart where iron rivers churned and ancient forces pulsed, something fundamental began to shift. The Earth's magnetic field, an invisible shield that had protected life for billions of years, was flipping. At first, the media barely touched the story. A few scientists raised warnings, their voices drowned in the daily noise of politics and entertainment. But then compasses stopped pointing north, planes veered off course, entire communication grids failed overnight, and slowly, panic spread. 17-year-old Cale had never paid much attention to science. He lived in the highlands, where the air was clean and the sky still felt vast, but the changes came even there. Birds disappeared. The northern lights, a phenomenon he'd only seen in books, began appearing every night, rippling in eerie greens and reds over the mountains. The sky seemed alive in ways it never had before. People gathered in silence to watch, their faces painted in ghostly colors, too afraid to speak. Governments finally told the truth. The magnetic poles were reversing, an event that hadn't happened for nearly 800,000 years. No one could say exactly how long it would take: weeks, months, perhaps years, but the consequences were already unraveling the world. The magnetic field, weakening with every passing day, no longer shielded Earth from cosmic radiation. Satellites failed, GPS collapsed, power grids flickered, auroras spread toward the equator, beautiful but deadly. Radiation levels soared in certain places, planes were grounded indefinitely. Animals, those who still followed the ancient lines of magnetism, became confused, lost, dying in strange places. And somewhere deep inside, people felt it too, a subtle disorientation, like the Earth itself was spinning wrong. Cale's village became isolated when communication lines failed, supplies dwindled, roads were cut off by violent storms, their patterns twisted by the magnetic chaos. The weather grew stranger: snow in summer, heat waves in winter, clouds that didn't behave as they should. Yet Cale was drawn, night after night, to the lights in the sky. He couldn't look away. Then the dreams began. At first, flickers, shapes of light, whispers of something ancient. But soon, the visions became clearer. He saw patterns in the auroras, strange geometries too perfect to be random. He saw symbols burned in the sky, as if the Earth itself was trying to speak. And always, he felt the pull of something enormous and unseen, something rising not just from the Earth, but from beyond. One night, guided by instinct he didn't understand, Cale climbed to the highest peak. The sky above pulsed with brilliant violet and green. The air felt electric. He wasn't alone. Others had come, strangers from neighboring villages, people drawn by the same visions. They stood together, silent under the seething sky. In that moment, the Earth itself seemed to pause. The compass in Cale's pocket spun wildly, and then stopped. The flip had happened. The magnetic north and south had reversed. The world below, however, was not as it had been. In the days that followed, reality bent in subtle but profound ways. The constant bombardment of cosmic particles, once deflected, had touched every living thing. Some plants grew at unnatural speeds. Certain animals mutated, new colors, new behaviors. Human minds, too, seemed altered. Cale's dreams became shared visions, not just in sleep but in waking hours. People spoke of a collective hum in their thoughts, an ancient memory surfacing from the depths of time. The elders whispered that this had happened before, that the Earth's magnetic heart was not just a shield, but a gate, one that, when reversed, opened something older than human history. Myths of ancient floods, mass extinctions, sudden leaps in evolution, they all traced back to previous flips. Each time, the world did not end, it transformed. Cale began to see differently. Patterns in nature, once invisible, became clear. He sensed the Earth breathing, pulsing, and he understood the flip was not destruction, it was awakening. Yet not all change was gentle. Cities burned, the great coastal hubs, dependent on electronics, on stability, fell into ruin. New alliances formed among survivors. Technology, for a time, collapsed. But in the wilderness, in the quiet places, humanity adapted. They grew different. Some spoke in strange new tongues. Others claimed to hear the Earth's song as music, as mathematics. Cale, now older, stood on the same mountaintop years later. The magnetic field had stabilized, but the world had not returned to what it was. Humanity had become something new, more aware, more connected to the living planet beneath their feet and the endless sky above. They no longer saw themselves as separate from nature, but as threads woven into its pattern. And far above, beyond the layers of clouds and auroras, the stars burned quietly, as they always had, waiting, watching. The earth had flipped, and in doing so, it had reminded life of something it had nearly forgotten: change is not the end, it is the beginning.